Hey y'all! It's been a long time.
It has.
But we're back on the scene, and today we're going to be harvesting sweet potatoes. Let's get into it.
Now, I planted sweet potato slips back on May 2nd. I planted between over 40 sweet potato slips. I want to say about 44 sweet potato slips in this little area. Now, I know it's a lot, but sweet potato slips do vine. You can vine everywhere if you let it go. Last year we planted around 30 sweet potato slips and we got some big buckets, 5 buckets, I want to say 10 gallons of huge sweet potatoes, and we harvested those about 5 months later on October 1st. It's been 5 months later and it's October 6th now, so we don't know what to expect. We have a lot more sweet potato plants that we've planted, and this variety is again Beauregard. We use the sweet potatoes that we had harvested last year for our slips. We also had a few spaces that were empty because they were either chopped off or died. So in those empty spaces where the slips were gone, we planted some Georgia Jet sweet potatoes in those areas. So about 3 to 4 plants in that usual space. And then we planted the rest of the Georgia Jet in a grow bag. So we'll see how that grow bag did in a little bit after we finish harvesting this area. But we have a lot to go through. And as you can see, some of these sweet potato slips not slips anymore, but the sweet potato plants, the vines, still have some very green, lush leaves on them. You typically harvest sweet potatoes either after 3 to 4 months or when the vines start to turn yellow and start to wither. Some of these vines, again, still look very green, but it's been 5 months. So we're gonna harvest them and see what we got, because we're expecting some big ones in here. Now, we built a patch in this area, not a patch, but a walking path in this area. As you can see, like with typical sweet potato vines that you don't chop, if you let them take over, they take over. So this pathway has been long covered, looks like it never existed. We're gonna have to chop these sweet potato vines off. Some of these sweet potato vines have made some new growth, so the leaves look more new, they look newer and more tender, so who knows, could still use these to cook with or eat. But last year we let them roam free, and the sweet potato vines, we had to chop them off because they were going everywhere. We did not do that this year, so the patch is a little more crowded. I don't know how that will impact the sweet potato tubers growth, if that impacted the growth or not, but we shall see.
Now, if y'all let y'all vines roam, what they'll do is produce roots, usually where there's a leaf node or where there's a leaf shooting out. And what they'll do is those roots will burrow in the ground and produce tubers. So if y'all don't want sweet potatoes all across y'all yard, what y'all want to do is cut these sweet potato vines back.
As we prepare to harvest the sweet potatoes by removing the vines, let me provide more information about how we grew them. Our Tennessee soil is like a mix of clay and loam. Clay soils are a bit dense, becoming heavier when wet, whereas loamy soil, which is a mix between sand, silt, and clay, is more favorable for plants, not only because they're able to retain moisture, but they're also able to drain pretty well. Before last year's sweet potato crop, we've never grown crops in this particular area before. So at that point in time, the soil was lacking those important nutrients and it just wasn't balanced overall. So to loosen up the soil and supply those important nutrients, we dug the area about a foot deep and mixed in compost, straw, and fertilizers like bone meal to supply the phosphorus and blood meal to supply the nitrogen. We did that last year before we grew our humongous sweet taters. So this year, all we had to do was just give it a quick refresher with some compost before planting our slips. Other than that, we just let the potatoes take care of themselves. We watered them fairly frequently, especially in the beginning, and we only fertilized them twice during the last 4 to 5 months with Neptune's Harvest fish and seaweed fertilizer. Besides praying for some rain, when we were too busy to water, we let them do their own thing, and that's really all that they required from us. So that's one of the reasons why I love growing sweet potatoes. They're just so easy to grow, at least in our region, and of course, they're delicious.
Mama, come help me. Help me, Mom. Tired, boss. Let me see what you're doing. Are you really a producer? Are you just for decoration? Cause we know the Beauregards out here doing anything they unearthed. Look at those mounds right there.
Look at those mounds.
I don't see what you're doing.
What you do?
I don't see no proof at all, Georgia. Let me see what you're gonna do. Show me.
Show me.
Where you produce.
The Georgia Jets didn't have as much room to grow as the Beauregards did, so I don't expect them to have as many tubers as the Beauregard, as like one Beauregard plant would have, because again, they didn't have a lot of space to grow because they were just there to fill in some empty space. And then also I think we put them in a few weeks after we planted the Beauregard slips. So we're just gonna see what they look like. We're gonna see what they do. The slips, or not the slips, but the vines are purple. The Beauregard vines are green. So, and the leaves are different. So we can tell which one is which just based off of the vines. And then of course the area we planted them in, but the vines and the leaves give us a very obvious hint of what plant they may be.
Girl. Okay, y'all, so we have cleared this area as much as we're going to, and we have some sweet potatoes popping out the ground. Look at this, y'all. So we are expecting some big sweet potatoes.
So we're just using the pitchfork, and we're gonna use some trowels and whatever we have to help dig some of these taters out of the ground. And we're trying to get a little further away from where we see the potatoes popping out of the ground so we don't puncture any of them. And so she's jumping on the the pitchfork with all her might, all her strength and all her might. We got the bucket over there ready. So let's see. Let's see if we got anything right there. May have to dig under. Oh, there's part of it. It's a good one. There's multiple here. Okay, you can hear the popping noises. So let's see.
Right there.
Oof, this is a big one. We're gonna have to get under it a little bit more. Whoa.
Oh my goodness.
No, you're gonna have to get under there some more, Mom. Oh, snap.
What in the world?
Those are some good sizes.
Really nice.
Another one, and this was from one plant in the area. This one is a very fat, and so this one broke off under there.
This is part of it.
So that one broke off, but we got some good big ones, good sizes in there too, and they look very pretty and very healthy. That one split. It was gigantic. Keep in mind, these were from the slips from last year. Humongous sweet potato. Now we're moving on to the next hill that was raised.
Are her glasses tightened up?
Now, as we keep on digging for these sweet potatoes, let me give you some information about this particular variety. Beauregard sweet potatoes are a popular sweet potato variety that are typically grown in zones 3 to 11, so both southern and northern regions of the US. They are a very productive, fast-growing variety that are ready to harvest between 3 to 4 months, yielding lots of medium to large-sized tubers. Flavor-wise, they are very sweet with a slightly nutty taste, similar to some pumpkins or sweet winter squash. They're also very creamy with minimal stringiness, so they're not only good for baking, but also a great option for making desserts like a good old sweet potato pie. As with other sweet potato varieties with orange flesh, Beauregards are rich in the phytochemical beta-carotene, which is a natural plant pigment that gives it that bright orange color. When consumed, beta-carotene converts into vitamin A or retinol, which is essential for supporting eye health, boosting the immune system, and maintaining healthy skin and mucous membranes. And it's not just these benefits, there are a plethora of other benefits that these sweet potatoes offer. So whether you get Beauregard or some other type of sweet potato, some other type of orange flesh sweet potato, make sure you have some sweet potatoes in your inventory. It's just that for us, these Beauregards have done us justice. So we're going to keep these in our inventory for years to come. Full disclaimer, you do not have to plant as many as we did to get a great harvest. Honestly, our harvest probably would have been even better, if not about the same, if we planted less in this area, because again, even if you planted just one slip, as long as you have the space for it to vine, wherever the vine touches the ground, roots will form and you'll basically get a new plant from the original. I just planted this many because I was just doing stuff. I was just doing anything. So next time I may plant less slips in this area just to see how they do. I will say that although we harvested a lot of great sized potatoes, lots of medium to large sizes, in comparison to last year we got medium, small, but a whole lot of humongous sweet potatoes, despite harvesting them around the same time. Like last year's harvest and this year's harvest, each were harvested after about 5 months. So I think the difference in sizes is not necessarily due to the length of time that they were growing, more so due to the number of slips that were planted. I planted about 10 to 15 more slips this year than I did last year, and so that may have caused more overcrowding, which led to smaller tuber development. Okay, we're moving on to the Georgia Jet. It's down here, this area over here. They may be a little smaller, we'll see. Not very large, as expected. Time or space to grow because the vines from the Beauregard already made their rental arrangements in the soil. So this one had more space, but it is split. I don't think this one got enough sunlight because it was blocked by this container right there. So the leaves didn't get a lot of sun. Yay! We finished harvesting! Or so you thought. Make sure you dig through the soil again, just in case you missed some spaces, y'all. We went over this area immediately after harvesting most of the potatoes, just to make sure we didn't miss any, and lo and behold, we missed some. They were good sizes too. We threw those bows, pun intended, right into the bucket.
Woo! I'm tired, y'all. We are moving on to the last harvest of the day. And these are Georgia Jets that we planted in a grow bag. We got these from a local co-op, the slips from a local co-op. We didn't really get too many from the ground, but we're hoping that we get some from the grow bag because this is our first time growing Georgia Jets. So we really want to see what they taste like. So fingers crossed, y'all. We want some Georgia Jets.
Georgia Jets are also a very, very popular choice for many home growers, especially those in the north, because they're pretty cold tolerant, mature in short growing seasons, all the while producing high yields. They produce round and sometimes slender tubers that are sometimes described as having the best taste for a sweet potato variety. Now, this is what they're supposed to look like, and this is what we got. Yeah, they didn't work out too well for us, possibly due to the area they were grown in, or maybe a lack of nutrients. Not too sure, but I do know that I don't think we'll be growing them again in the future, not the near future. But please let us know how they do for y'all if you've grown this variety before. So the last thing we need to do is lay these bad boys out on a table, get to making an assembly line where the both of us are wrapping them in some newspaper, put them on the shelf and let them cure for a few weeks so that the starches can turn into sugars and it can actually taste like a sweet potato.
And not bland.
Not bland. So we'll do that probably in the next day or so, and we'll show y'all what those look like later on when we start to using these sweet potatoes, put them in their burlap sacks and everything. We trying to eat healthy, okay? So thank y'all for watching. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe, and stay tuned for more videos because we are coming back, y'all.
We're coming back.
We coming back.
We're back.
We are back.
That's right.
But even more.
Yep.
Okay, see ya.